As we connect to line screens, we have to really recognize our communication of programs. High-rise is our set location line system. The streamlines and highline interference universal clock line communication setting is now instructions. All right, so your 24 divisions, 24 equals lines of 144. Let's start with applications. All right, 24 ground lines, so location equal line calculation setting ground levels. All right, 24 line calculation settings, equal line calculations of water. Set location line, set locations, all levels, and calculations of its air. So I need a 24 ground line, calculation, equal line, calculation height, center interference, and position location of the fire. Okay, setting lines, calculation, right? 24 equals 144. Track to correlation setting, the track lines of 24, 24, 24, and 24. It's that location. Okay, that's what we're coming into. Okay, 24 lines of ground levels. Balance position line calculation stream locations, 24 lines of water, containments over line stream, 24 lines of air, space to time to division, 24 equals line calculations of fire, in position of rebirthing line rotations. Okay? That's what we're coming into. 2 streams and line calculation settings, split the anomalies in 2 track locations. 2 and 4, 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 right? Provision cycles of 2 line settings, 4 line correlation setting of track lines. So inline rotation interference in position locations. So you got 2 track locations, setting position at all levels, 4 line signatures in position location settings. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Sets position location of 7. Okay. Same again. Ground lines. 1, 2. Set locations. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sets line calculation setting, high position location line system. Now, this is positive or negative, negative or positive. Position of track loads correlation setting of track lines. Putting position location lines and locations all levels of 7, 7, 7, 7 in set location. Okay? So really understand the balance lines of the ground lines and 144 clock lines and locations of water, air, and fire. Okay? How it's set up position attractions. So we all understand how to use the universal clock line setting in all levels of your system to its location system of its reality as set location. Okay, mega multi-pass. All right, that's the provision cycles that we have to come into. All right. So in that track communication line screens, you have to really understand how to use the mechanism lines location at travel settings. It sums up all line calculation setting. You guys start off with your pre-flights, right? So in anomalies, set anomaly line setting, sets location all levels, 24, equal lines of north, west, east, and south. Okay, so this is how it's set up. Okay, north, east, west, and south. Okay, so north equals 24. Okay, east equals 24, south equals 24, and west equals 24. Okay, but the provision line cycles is 144, right? Equals lines of frequency. Okay, so we all understand what that's coming into. All set conditions of 111 equals lines of 112 equal lines of 113 equal lines of 114 in set locations. Summer, spring, winter, fall. You guys with me now? All right. So in that track communication settings, once you understand how to use the provision line calculations, you come to heat signature patterns, position of the track lines. Now it gets more complicated, more complex because you're reaching higher line setting and positions your future adaptation area system locations. How to use yourself in all position abstractions. Okay? So calculate the line centers of 24 equals lines of north, west, south, and east. Okay? Setting 24 line set locations, equal lines of 4 equals lines of 1, and this location equal lines of 5, right? 5 equals lines of elements, okay? Equal line calculation setting, and track location of grounds, okay? Airs, waters, and fires. Okay, you see what we're doing? So we're tracking these communication line streams into 2 panels. Directing lines of fire, calculations of water, calculations of airs, and calculation of grounds. The 4 cycles in communication platforms and communication in pyramid. Directing communication lines at 24 signature lines and calculation line systems. So that's 2 over track, 2 over provision, 2 over line cycles, 4 line divisions, and 4 set location. Traffic calculation line sending equal lines as correlation panels. Now, this directs signals to your system location system, all levels of optical line communication streamlines, and all lines center line in position into its operation surface and set locations. Okay, that my equation. All right, so getting signified, modified in triangulation line centers to understand how to use the GOD of ground level settings. All right. Say location Nikki, line calculation setting to now line position location, all level settings. All surface position of track to its communication. All right, so in that provision, you come into generation screens, and the screen sets position location of your settings into its operation surface. Okay, there we go. So in that provision, line cycle comes in location. All right. So waiting on line rotation interference. Remember the track to its communication lines, graph lines, and high position location and measures. Okay, you understand the molecule structural locations of shapes and anomalies. Line connecting high and line position locations, all of your kilo, which is your position locations, and how you use your self location, your perception settings through all perceiving. How to go through location setting and location to your astral projections, and all through your projector and self locations. Well, it's all a modification to universal clock line calculation settings, right? Northwest, south, and east. Northwest, east, south. Doesn't matter. What matters is it's coming in 24 of all set locations. So in that track line communications, this is the clockings at right now: 24, 48, 72, and 13. Okay, 13, right? So setting position locations, 24 line settings, comes in the north, east, south, west. So in set location line interference, 24 line communication settings of 2 panels, line connections of 4 line track lines. So that puts position locations all settings. 3 lines of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 position of traction. Sun comes in line rotation center and positional only in the 24 clocking. Directing communication lines of 48, graph line calculation setting, and all levels of your flywheel and direction of time sequence and set locations and grounds. Setting correlations to 72 computer frames, indirect signal to set location of travel settings. 7 positional levels, 2 patterns, line rotation of 3 set locations. Travel communication line settings, highest center interference of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 box locations. Track to its correlation setting, line connection of 13 equals lines of 9. That's a 9 cycle of communications. So you guys started off into all calculations on all lines of I9, but position location is 13 equals 9, right? Which is the 9 cycles, 9 spacing line, and correlation high center interference of northwest, south, and east. Triangulation and reset position of programs into 111, 112, 113, and 114, which is position locations of 4 panels and stream location setting and track location. Directing communication lines, graph lines, center line position to its operation. All right, so we got 1 provision, 1 line cycle, 1 line center in track locations. We got 1 line center, 1 rotation, and 2 track locations. In track lines, so 1 line provision, 1 line system, and line calculation setting into 3 track locations. And track to its correlations of 1 line rotation, 1 line division, and 4 line connection of solar streams and direct signals. Graphing communications of pi into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 12 line rotation. Travel communication lines of box line rotation surface and all calculation lines in window frames and set position locations in a center communication setting and all stream location setting in all levels of traction. Okay, very powerful set locations. All right. So in provision line cycles, you got to get in that communication you're setting. Right. So getting into that provision gets you an adaptation surface. Right. So 24 line setting, 24 line provision, 24 line calculations, and 24 south line connection. All right, that's what it's turning into a diamond core line in set locations. The equal line calculation setting sets position of perimeters, sets the communication to your flywheel and direction of time sequence. Okay, so in time sequence, line calculation setting comes into all set location your pyramid and position location. All right. Now, the film strips line settings, all levels at 24 frames in position of travel lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 17, 18, 24. Walking signal, location of graph lines of communication. All right. Travel direction of timelines, crosses line, stream location, high center interference, all calculation. So triangulation reset position programs and line calculation of crop circles. So changing all calculation Mother Earth in line position of 24 line signals, 24 stream locations into an X2000 stream and 2 track locations. Mechanism behind center line centers, center position of operation, center position of operation. Very powerful stuff locations. Ground and communication lines, high center line setting. All levels are rotating the surface and set location are universal clock line conditions of future adaptation. All right, done by equation. Now, if you look at the center communication, you actually can see the set position location to its robot, to its Android, its location. There it is, center position operation. Right? Ground communication streamlines. Direct and communication line settings. Now it gets more complicated because we're going to higher levels of travel communications. Travel calculation line settings is a bracket over pi and 2 lines of hangers and set location of travel settings. Okay, 2 point systems into 1 molecule stream, into 1 atom rotation, into a Fibonacci, into travel calculation setting. All right, setting locations all levels. Fibonacci location at ground level, into position of water, in position of air, and positions of fire, and track pieces of 2 panels of operation stream. Directing communication lines at grounds, into water, to air, to fire communication. Travel calculation line centers. Atom rotation center to infinity cycle set locations. Travel directions of time sequence into the pyramid of activation stream location. Directing communication lines. Signify calculation setting location centers. Molecule structure up, molecule structure down. 4 cross-line calculation setting of arrows and redirect signals of panels and set location of travel lines and point systems and track location of measure and set location of high setting. Mechanism high calculation, XD1000 comes in. Sets position of center communication in a 6 waving cycle. Line position crosses lines of the arrow of indication. Travels line set locations into waving line cycles. Position locations, position locations, position locations, position locations. Into new line circle, line rotation interference of 24 clock location of universal location of time. Directing communication line centers, film strips, panel lines, 3 lines of 4 lines of 5 line connections of elements. Travel communication line settings crosses line calculation setting in a 45-degree angle and line position location of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 line position of travel. And direct signals modification. Done by equation. Okay? So, understand these simplifications and all levels of specification. Try to understand how this all works through provision line cycles, through your connections of your flywheel of universal clock line communication of settings. All done by equation. Okay, back and track line connections. Mechanism high center interference. We platted to the line center location 3 lines. Take it out of position location and travel lines. Okay, so we go into position of point system, and 3 track locations. See the 3 points? Direct line calculation lines of point system, and track location. 3 lines of communication travel settings. All right. Molecular structures of design is resetting position of platforms. It's position of track to its correlation, setting attractions. Open up division line interference, crossing stream location line system into center communication to new line of position location of intelligent stream and line center location of face recognition. Okay, done by equation. Right, very complicated stuff. Okay, modifiers, division panels, operation, electrical circuits, high position of track lines, high operation line settings. It's all set location in your system through universal locations. All right. So, like I said, it's going to get extremely complicated now because you're in a 24 line wave into 144 in track locations. But the equal line calculations is waiting on signal and position locations. We understand locations of pi, right? But in position locations comes an X line. So becoming the 24 equals lines of X, calculations of 1 line provision location to an XT1000 line stream. Directing communication lines to locations into levels of the grounds, into the powers, and into the atmospheres. Setting ground line levels, perceptions over pi, into the atom line setting. Track is correlation setting. Sun comes in line communication setting and program line rotation surface and track locations. Directing panels and set location line setting to the satellites on Wi-Fi. Position of track lines at 2 line division, 4 line track location to 2 measures. 24 signatures, stream location and settings, and 4 line track locations. Pi indirect signal position all levels. operation surface in the sun communication setting, and all track to its communication setting, and 24 lines of travel. Very complicated stuff. Graphic communication of portal lines of stargates, provision lines of cycles, and center position to its operation. Center communication line center location comes into the center line calculation setting to higher levels, a high calculation setting in all line rotation surface and track locations. Very complicated stuff. Okay, outwinding cycles, highest location. This is where it comes in higher calculation lines. Metric meters, okay, and line calculations of memory and allocation line system. Travel calculations of 2-point systems in one line setting. Equal lines of correlation setting, travels lines of set location, travel line division. Metric meter line interference and memory line rotations modification comes into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waiting cycles. Calculation line center line interference comes into a lacing line communication. Electrical light panels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in provision line cycles in a theta communication stream. Direct panels lines of 2 track lines of 3 lines of 4 line position of travel. Direct communication line settings comes into the sun, rotators, line settings, high calculation setting, and sonar communication setting to its capsule communication. Done by equation. Okay, so in that position locations, we come into all calculation settings, right? 7 in track equals lines of 24. 24 equals lines of grounds. Ground lines of water, line conditions of air, and position location of fire. Ground communications of 111. Water calculations of 111. Connections of air is 111, and position of fire equals 111 in set locations. Okay, it's all set up. Setting track lines of 1, in position of 2, in position of 3 set locations. Setting wires of 1 line centers, 2 track location, and 3 line division. Setting locations all levels into the atmosphere line calculations of air of 1 position, 2 position, and 3 position location travel. Direct and communication lines of fire line rotations into rebirth and line communications of 1, 2, and 3 track locations. Direct and communication of panels, open all signal line position of crop circles, line set location of center of operation. Setting track location to your pyramid in line settings and track location. That my equation, right? Mechanism of meters, line stream line settings, open all signals, position modification line stream location, dimensional lines of cerebro. Dimensional door line settings, high calculations of 3 line rotation surface and track locations. Direct and communications, this way line setting, this way line rotations, setting communications. 2 battery line settings, line rotation surface and triangulation. All right, point system line directions. So we get ground lines, operation line set location, coordinates over pi, 1 point system, track lines in pi, direct location of pi, direct location of angle, direct location of pi, and location of 4 lines, position of 6, and position of 7, and position location 8. 8 position line calculation of the cloud line is line rotation interference in a tree formation location. Done by equation. Light force line stream in dimensional door lines and open through sequence and pattern line calculation setting in cerebral cortex. In stream lines, it detects line calculation stream locations and all levels of operation, modify line streamlines and magnetic line positions of program set location. Done by equation. All right. Getting position of track line is really understand how to use the modification stream locations. 1 signature panel, 2 lines of position, 3 lines of track. Okay. Setting position location across screens. Okay. Setting the location of all line center line interference of 24 line measure into 144 in set locations. Center track lines and 4 generation streamlines is center of communication with sun and rotors and line calculation setting and track location of face recognition. Done by equation. Okay, so face recognition is coming in high calculation line settings. Taking 24 face recognition on timelines into future locations of the now. Center position locations, all settings and track locations. So notifications, operation into water containment center. Track to its correlation setting opens all signals, line calculation, 24 clock line, universal line interference, and position location. Track to its correlation setting comes in position location to your diamond core line screen. Process line calculation setting and all line rotations into your dimensional sail and set locations. Track to its correlation setting to its operation surface and new line routers and line position to its operation. Done by equation. Okay, coming into face line settings, 24 line measures, calculates all line system location of Neptune, in track location of abundance, done by equation. Look really close to see the face recognition, right? Face recognition is everywhere. Face recognition is everywhere. There it is, done. Okay, so getting in flying settings, coordinates over pi, direct locations of Pluto, line rotation center. Pluto here, line conditions, Jupiter here, line position location track lines, 3 track location settings. So modified line signals and triangulation of 3 set position programs, directing communication line send location at all levels. Jupiter rising and 2 panels, line stream location and setting, all track location system, and all line rotation variance location. Neptune is that location. Directing communication line send locations comes to the new ground line operation. Facilities over pi, track location in Neptune. Now, in the Neptune location, the crypto line stream location system, the box, triangle, box, line calculation inhibitors, sets location near vaults. Setting track to correlates to setting of track to its communication center of operation surface. Down by equation. Okay, Neptune streamlines, set location on all levels. Now we have position location of 2 pod line centers and 1 set location. Directing communication line streams and 2 lines of 3 line connections. Operation surface comes in sun, into the moon, and line center, and position its operation. Sets position location grid in line setting locations. Sets line calculation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, all the way to line calculation setting. Tracks correlation 1/80,000 line implications of 24 line rotation, 24 calculations, 24 line atmosphere, and 24 lines of space equal lines of south and set location of travel. Done by equation. All right. Diamond core, shift, line, rotation centers, and calculation stream locations. Box channels, line, center locations, all setting location of theta. Theta line rotates its surface and set location of travel lines as securities and perimeters and pattern line rotation. Center coordinate, high center appearance is sun line, future line, communication line is travel communication settings and point system locations. Done by equation. All right, so that signals out. How are we doing so far? Everybody on point? Try to understand what's going on through track locations, right? Yeah, thumbs up in all line center. All right, so we go line position location of 2 towers, represent time sequence. So this where comes in all calculation line center locations in line calculation setting of Asgard Bravo. Correct communications, all levels of waiting line centers, a 3 set line condition of travel setting location of 4 lines and calculations. There we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 set location. Travel represent time sequence, put positions of panels in 1 line cycle. Sets location of 2 panels and track location, high positional location and travel settings. Directing communication of panel lines and high center interference. Directing communications all levels of travel settings, puts levels of operation. Okay, set location line centers in set location. All right. So mechanism pi. Remember, you're always working with inside the pyramid. Everything is at line calculation setting and stream location. You're always inside the pyramid. Setting graph line screens into 2 lines, 3 lines, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 line connections. Okay, so then we come into a wave line center. Okay, this is where the electronic wall line of 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 track location of 1 line centers and 1 line center locations. Inhibitors over pi, directing line calculation of 0 lines is high calculation setting box, triangle, box. Line rotation centers of 0 line communication setting, all position of distraction. Okay. Now, in position line connection high center, you have to understand the 0 lines of platform. It opens all communication signals and set locations, right? Direct and communication lines, high center line rotation, indirect signal to modification. Okay, done by equation. All right. All right. Like I said, it's going to get extremely complicated. So understanding is that you're coming into this, but this has to be balanced here, here, and here, and here to your cerebral cortex locations. So it's in the line connections of a diamond, okay? But you have to stand position of track line when it comes into your flywheel and set location, okay? So direct and line connection Merkaba is the center location at equal communication. See, there's the equal sign, all right? Setting track lines, you can change and shift lines the anomalies of your set location to your tetrahedron. That's your tetrahedron. This is your Merkaba and center line connections. So it's the female cycle, the male cycle. And it's the male cycle, the female cycle. Okay, what's above is what's below, right? So really understand the whole point of here is putting yourself in the center communication to all levels of all calculation setting to all line connections to your GOD of mechanism location of travel. Okay, into your pyramid set location. Okay, boom. So that's set up through all process of reproduction, line setting, and all calculation lines are your REM cycles. Cycles interference and set location line settings and travel communication system. Relay modules, center positions, locations, of course, of obsidian, coil, copper. Yeah, it's getting more complicated now because your travel mechanism line setter SIMS is graphing communication to ground lines and point system one line setting. So getting travel position line calculation setting in all levels, high calculations, walk on the surface and line traction. Okay. Setting wall, connecting lines and locations in all lines of plasma energy line rotations. Track is correlation centered as center position. Triangulation, triangulation line center locations operation. Center in the communication center traction. Puts position to its operation surface, triangulates high calculation settings of travel, so face recognition. Okay, that my equation. All right. Mechanism high force is where to understand how to use the 24 line screens. Now, 24 line screen location is sets line calculation setting equal to lines of 144. Now, equal line communication comes in lines location of 4 and 8. Provision lines of 48 line calculation setting, 48 light years inside location in your systems. That's where you are right now. 40 track location of box line rotation and travel lines of 4 generation streams and 8 line signature patterns. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 line position of travel. Positions over pi, directing communication lines of the sun in line calculations of securities and all line rotation surface and triangulation. So the 24 line signals and all calculation comes into Pluto in security line position location of travel settings. Directing communications on 144, center lines its communication of 4 generations and 4 set location of setting. Travel calculation line interference with 3 line communication 1, 2, 3, 4 and set location line settings into your flywheel and rotation surface into solar generation stream location inside location of center of operation. That my equation. So 4 generation streamlines in the 7 line calculation setting. 7 equals 24 now. So you get a digital frame inline calculation setting. So this word basically comes in a high calculation line set location of Vega. Vega sets line calculations Heather line rotations, box line rotations, surface and surface communication settings. Calculation line interference and 4 waving line cycles, calculation line system, location of travel lines and line connection settings are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 point systems and track location line settings. And 4 division lines of cycles and high calculation stream location of center communication. Now, directing communication line setting sets position locations all levels. This where it comes a laser connects high center locations of volume and set location. So this is where it comes in line settings into all levels of its cog weaving, cog line rotation, interference of travel calculation setting and position to its operation. See the intelligence? So this is where it comes in the cog line settings, so dimensional line rotations, dimensional. Delta heading communication of dimensional line doors, represent time 24 line sequence line calculation setting of travel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Box line rotation center and triangulation of Stargate panel and line set locations operation. Done by equation. It's amazing how you come into cloud line channels and high direct signals to your system location. This modifies your line centers, how you use the grounds, the powers, and the atmospheres, the 3 line settings and set location system, and a 4 line wave of elements over lines of equal lines of 1 line signature puts 5 elements in set location in your system and travel calculation lines of sun communication of operation surface. Done by equation. All right. So how's everybody doing so far? Getting a better understanding how to get in provisions. What are we in line calculations of? 13 and 2 line setting. What are we in track location of? 2 provisions, 1 line cross line, right? 13 equals lines of 9. 9 equals lines of 24 in set location. Okay, done by equation. That's all set up. Okay, remember it's already in provision. It's already done. Center communication line settings 24 equals lines of 13, 13, 13. All right, so that's 13 lines of hearts, mind, and soul and track locations. Directing communication line settings into the sun and the moon of yin and yang, cross location of 6 and 9 line settings. That's done. All right, so inline center. Try to understand how to use the 24 line cycles. That's 24 line equal locations of 7, 7 location lines of 5, 5 line connections of 12, set specific locations all levels, into pi and set location of travel. Directing communication line settings of 1, 2, 3 panels of communication. Tracks correlation setting. Remember, you're always working with your pyramid inside locations. Okay. So 7 lines of setting, 4 lines of division, and 2 track location of 3 measures. Sets line position locations, operation line setting, and a new crop circle location system into a tube line rotation center and track locations. Okay, done by equation. Mechanism high calculation line streams 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 line provisions. Okay, sets lines of the sun in line communications in an upswing line setting at all track locations to a new capsule design and line calculation setting to a new line calculation setting to a tube line rotation surface and triangulation reset positions of programs in all calculation stream locations and all calculation settings and all line interface recognition time sequence of 24 line rotation and center communication. Okay, done by equation. See the intelligence? All right. Center communication, operation surface, recognition time sequence. So it's all about the face recognition timelines. So that's 24 line setting, equal lines of face. Okay. Then you got position of two arrows indicate line calculation at east and west line into 24 line signal and set locations, right? 24 equal lines of 144. 144 stays on point view. Then you get into the south wind line calculation setting at 24 line cycles on position locations and time. Sets equal line correlation setting into 24 line communications of space and set locations, down by equation. And so, yeah, the nominal line vibration of sequence and positions of patterns. So that's all set up. Okay, the equal lines correlation setting, the track location system, which is your sonify calculation setting to your solar plex. Okay, your solar plex. Okay, Travis correlations and settings of 3 track locations of 4 lines of 5 position provision. Okay, sets communication of 1, 2, 3 set locations. All right, comes into your location grid, into a security line panel, a set location. All right, done by equation. Okay. Get in a track location line setting and high position to its operation of 24 clock lines. 24 equals lines of setting. So in position locations of 2 panels, and set location equal lines of X. Okay, that's where it comes into 1, 1, position of 2 panels, right? Sets locations X equals lines of calculations of what? 1 is position of 12 and set location, right? See the 12 line? 12 here, and 11 lines equals 12 here in set location. Complicated stuff, right? So you have to understand how to use the 24 line division location of 12 equals lines of 2 panels, how it becomes north, west, south, and east in set location of travel settings, right? Equal lines of 2 panels, put the 2 panels together in line calculation setting, 2 track locations and a 4 line string location of set locations into a satellite in communication. Done by equation. All right, it's all set up now. Provision cycles of 4 box location of channels and operation surface. New ground lines, surface lines, and ground lines, high calculation air, waters, and fires, and set position operation. Done by equation. Signify, calculation sonar, alpha, delta, theta line, and center line interferences, traffic communications, and calculation line setting to new satellite dish and line rotation surface. Done by equation. All right. So, getting into your position of a universal clocking is really understanding how to get your positions of track lines. Okay, 24 line setting high position to its operation. Now the triangulation box line, it sets locations to its body line signal. That's position locations all levels. That's a north line wind, that's a south line position, that's an east line calculation, and that's a west line communication. Travel calculation line set locations into travel calculation lines of 2 measure and line centers. Sun comes in, modification line system, and travel calculations. All levels of division location. Okay. Wind cycles, correlations of panel, center line communication setting, all levels of optical line rotation center position to its location system. And if you look really close, you can see the intelligence all set location. There's the intelligence. See it? So line position to its ear and position traction. There's the ear, there's the intelligence. Formation location, there's the neck, and there's the body. Okay? Mega pass. All done. All done. All right. And remember, you're always working with inside the pyramid. You're never outside the pyramid. Okay. Always inside, always inside, always inside. Boom. All right. So we're going to change the center lines of 24 into 48 light years away in point system location of travel. There it is. Done. See? Point system line connections. Cerebral cortex line calculation setting in measure. Cerebral cortex line stream high calculation setting. Weather correlation set lines and travel calculation setting out of wind line cycles of face recognition, of time sequence. Puts positions of patterns and high calculations. Okay? See how it went out position? See, it went out position, right? But it's in the pyramid, so nothing's out of position. It's always in signal. It's auto modified. It's always in position. Location, track lines, after projections. Right? Done by equation. All right. How's everybody doing so far? I know it's a lot to take in, guys, but it has to get done. Done is already done cross line. So we go cross line communications, right? This is where you play, this is locations of tic-tac-toe. Okay. So the X line center line conditions of T lines its hemi-sync line calculations setting, modified calculations of its balance, balance position locations of balance line stream locations, all equal lines calculation, triangulation. Triangulation is a box, calculations of percentage over line calculation setting crosses star locations of pi. Indirect signal, it's location. So it's pretty interesting when you look at the cross polynomial communications. Blocking centers and 2-track location of 3 lines and 4-line provision. Okay. So it gets complicated now because now we're working with position of track lines into your tesseract. Yes, tesseract communications. Open all windows and 3-frame position of travels. Direct communication line crosses line calculations. All levels of point system, track location, high settings, and all line position to its operation. Cubical streamlines, direct signals on the calculation of stream locations of phase recognition of time sequence. Done by equation. All right, that's done. Okay. So the provision line cycles is all calculation line setting, crossing line rotation surface. Okay. Position locations, all levels, and track locations. Right. Looks like a kite, right? Mechanism high calculation line centers, a new ground line operation into a galaxy shift line. Archetypes and 2-line division. Okay. Center communication circle lines in your tracker settings and rotate in service location of center communications. Sets line calculation again, make sure that your pyramid is already in set location. So you're always working with the in cycle line communication of the outer lines of space, position location of travel lines at 3 set locations. And then the sun comes out of wind, right? There's the sun, comes in position of space line and protects everything in set location of travel lines and mechanism high setting and travel communications. Done by equation, right? Okay. Remember, the sun and moon comes to you through set location of travel settings. So the north wing and the south wing is truly stand the north line setting to the south wing, into the equal lines of north wing, into sectors, into vectors, and into quads in set location system. Java calculation line settings of travel. Point system of direct settings. High calculation of 2 lines, of 3 lines, of 4-line position of the perimeters. Sets location of 5 settings. Track location to H line center and cross location signals. Modifications of box line rotation center and travel communication and set location. Operation surface and triangulation reset position of programs application. Sets position lines and near 0 line rotation center line calculation setting in north, west, south, and east in set location. That equation, all right? So 3 panels line calculation setting. So we got correlation setting of past, present, and future line setting. So future lines, past equals lines of present, future location. Future line rotates the surface in a triangulation reset position of programs of phase direction of time sequence and all levels of the allocation. Done by equation. All right. Elements of star lines is position of track to its communication line screens. Now, directing lines of box line rotation surface is all levels of triangulation reset position of programs. So it has an indication of pi and both set location of setting. Okay. Pi indicates space and pi indicates time. Okay. Mechanism high calculation line, center line conditions, all levels of yin and yang and process communication. Directing communication, triangulation, reset position of programs and position locations, and again with your pyramid line rotation center and track locations. So in position locations, high line settings, all level division location of center and communication of programs is set location. Okay. Get balanced line centers, calculation descending to motion line conditions. All right. Done by equation. So triangulation resets and box line rotations of pi is space of time, not balance, in a 24 line rotation, 24 line screen locations, 24 line settings of side lines, 24 line connections of east line, in position location of self communication, 24 line stream location system, and a clock line setting location of change lines, high calculation line interference, and set position to its operation. Done by equation. Okay, that's got to center out. So once you understand how to use the X lines of 2 lines and the position line conditions of X, the all location system and the travel communications, right? But it's always on a 24 line signal because you guys are now in a 48 line rotations with box that location center. Okay. Sending correlation line set locations, equal line calculations, waiting on signal into 72 track locations, right? So 48 light years away comes in line center locations into 144 measure. Calculation of center line communication streamlines, all calculation lines of phase recognition of time sequence. Time equation. Okay. How are we doing through set location travel lines? Is everybody okay? Everybody's connecting. High position of track lines, high center interference, all levels of high positional programs. We're all good. Things are all center line is communication stream location of settings and traction. One provision, set line calculation stream locations, right? 2 bracket line settings. Okay. Yeah, great. Travel calculation line settings is center communication, right? Point system. But you're going to equal lines of 3 line settings. Okay. Mechanism high position of 2 panels, 3 lines calculation stream locations. Now, in track location of 2 line division, 1, 2 only in 3 locations, right? But it's 2 track location high settings and all mechanism high position of travel communications. Very complicated stuff. The travel line calculation setting crosses line setting, okay? Sets position location of 0 line in line position of platforms in a higher position of travel correlation setting and track location of magnetic high fields and set position. Very complicated stuff. All right, so we get the XT1000 high setting right there in the corner location. Sets position of wind cycles in 1 center, okay? Travels line center locations, all levels. Travels center position of ground setting, okay? So in that location, we put position line track lines. This opens all detection stream locations. Balance position line centers back in line calculation equal line coordinate setting in a 24 line rotations, 24 line centers, 24 line waves, and 24 south locations into a diamond core shift line stream location of center. Down by equation. Okay? Very complicated stuff how to set these things up through galaxy shift lines of 24 sequence. Okay. All right. So when we get into all setting, we come into all set locations 111, we come into 112, and we come into 113 in set locations. And 114 is line position. Okay. So we get 3 bracket location centers. Okay. So you all have to understand how to use the letters, numbers, shapes, and symbols and how to travel throughout the equation location of 2 panels. Tracks with correlations of 2 line divisions and 4 line communications, right? So that's 4 equals lines of 3, sets position of 7 channels. 7 channel line connections, very complicated stuff. So you work with the 1 communication, 1 line centers, and 1 travel communications, right? Setting track lines in 1, 1, 2 location setting. Travel calculations of 1, 1, 3 sets positional locations of going forward and line rotation of sun in set locations. 1, 1, 4 comes a magnetic highway information panel and center position of operation in set location. Travel direction of time sequence, guys. So once you get into that, you get into the 0 ground. You always have to have a crop circle location of ground lines and mind adaptation location of surface location of cerebros. Direct communication cross line screens. So we take the 1, 1, 4 crossing lines of 1, 1, 4 lines and set location of 8 centers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1 rotation. Tracks with correlation settings go to the opposite cycle communications in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and set location of travel settings. Direct communication settings, all levels, high center interference. Sets position of location to your flywheel and a center communication line settings at all levels of mechanism line calculations of travel. Direct modification of your system, guys, all set locations. So we go through the signature streams, okay, in 1 position, 2 position, and 3 track locations, right? Data streams line set location of 3 settings, right? And then we go into modification of 3 streamlines location and ground settings, right? Then we come into electrical calculations and fusion, line rotation center position to its operation. Okay, done by equation. So the connection of northwest, south, and east. The 24 equals lines of 13 line calculations of 9. 9 line calculation equal lines position location of 144. 1 track line calculation setting and position location of the summer, spring, winter, fall is now in the 3 line rotation center and crops location sitting and high position location operation surface and 20 trillion line calculation equal lines of 4 and position location of grounds, waters, airs, and fires. Tracking correlation setting to track location system and line calculation setting and a 12 graph location screen line communication setting and a 24 line rotation of the month and line rotation interference waiting on set location system, back in line calculation setting, and track location system, and position location of its operation, into 144 screen locations of set location. Done by equation. Now we're done. Is it a coincidence that we're 13 lines of views lines and 3-line communication? Nope. The provision is understanding the cycles per second, per minute, per frame, per hour. No, exactly. Nothing is coincidence. There's a reason why general comes on in a 13-line view in a 3-line rotation of thumbs up. That's not a coincidence, because now I bring in the sun and now I bring in the moon to protect all communication streamlines of face recognition. Done by equation. Okay? Very, very complicated stuff. All right, so all weathers are set up locations, setting track lines, 4 equals lines of all position of 5, sets position your elements, sets elements, sets elements, and sets elements and set location to your diamond core shift line stream locations. All right, equalize the correlation setting to 2 tracks of 3-line settings. High calculation lines of east line, wind line, calculation of 2 lines of high center interference, and position location of travels, and line set location is stargate, star panels, and star position of operation. Set position of 4 lines of 5 signature stream locations, equal lines calculation centers of operation surface, and a magnetic highway information line settings of 24-line rotation of cerebral cortex stream locations. Done by equation, guys. Okay. So how are we doing so far? If I get a better understanding, or are we all confused? That's why I want Zoom with Q&A, because you guys are trying to really understand your clock lines, the universe, location, of time sequence. So that's all it is. It's getting 24 grounds, okay? 24 airs, doesn't matter in order of communications, 24 waters, and 24 fires. Okay, each of the clock line set locations, because you're working with 13, 13, 13, and 13 graph locations a month. Okay, so in that line communication, that's where it comes in high setting. Mother Earth is getting ready to get into the center communications and to a 24 equal lines of a month of space. Okay, of space and time. Waiting on signal and set locations. But right now, you guys are working with a 13 graph and a 48 million frame locations per second per channel per screen. Directing communication line settings and all set location in your system and locations. Okay. You're extremely welcome there, Ziggy. Hope you guys had fun in that set location line system. But that's it. We're done. Okay. In position locations, getting unification lines of clocking, really understand the more balanced position locations. So when you get up in the morning, you know exactly what time it is and what position you are, what frequency you're at, in line position location system, in line calculation setting, in line rotation, north, south, and east, and a 24 ground line communications to its atmospheres, in calculation line interference of the power direction of time sequence, in your fly direction of time lines, high calculation of chakra communication of your cells lines, atom lines, molecule lines, and star locations of protons, electrons, neutrons, photons, or location system, and track location settings into all set positions of your system in Proctor calculation. Okay? Done by equation. All right? See you in 5. Adios.